What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NBA Knowledge. Today we're looking at the 7 worst floppers in NBA history. At number 7, Reggie Miller. Easily one of the best three-point shooters ever to step onto an NBA court, Reggie Miller also made quite the career out of flailing his whiny frame around at any given moment. Having that wiry frame gave Miller the advantage when it came to flopping, since he could easily sell someone as skinny as himself getting pushed around by just about anyone. Miller even revolutionized a different style of flopping by perfecting the leg kick. The leg kick basically involves you going up for a normal jump shot but then sticking your leg to make contact with the defensive nearest to you, and you get the automatic foul. His worst instance of flopping was when Gus Johnson called Reggie out for doing it. At number 6, Derrick Fisher. At this point in his career, Derrick Fisher doesn't have much to contribute aside from his leadership and the ability to hit the big shot when called upon. Oh, and he's flopping at ridiculous rates, of course. The longtime Los Angeles Lakers point guard and 5-time NBA champion has become notorious for flopping and initiating contact by either diving into players or just acting as if he just got shot by a tank cannon. For someone who appears strong, Fisher flails around like a fish out of water. His worst instance of flopping is when Paul Millsap throws Derrick Fisher. At number 5, Paul Gasol. Paul Gasol, without a doubt, got toughened up by Phil Jackson and the Los Angeles Lakers since making the move from Memphis. While Gasol's physical defense has improved, his ability to flop has gone up as well. He's regarded today as one of the most notorious flopping big men and has proved to us many times that he's the second coming of Vlade Divac when doing so. Gasol is just another international player, giving our overseas friends a bad name. Worst instance of flopping is when Paul Gasol flops due to Kevin Garnett being next to him. At number 4, Danny Ainge. One of the first players ever to bring about flopping to the game of basketball, enforcer Danny Ainge brought more to the Boston Celtics of the 1980s than just hard-nosed defense. Ainge was notorious for complaining to referees when flops weren't called for him, and he was the predecessor of flopping before Bill Laimbeer even thought of bringing it up. The flopping trend in Boston lives on through the original flopper in Ainge. At number 3, Bill Laimbeer. One of the first NBA players to revolutionize the practice of flopping, former Detroit Pistons enforcer Bill Laimbeer gave everyone outside of Detroit just another reason to hate him. Rather than the usual cases of Laimbeer playing defense that sometimes went too far or getting in fights with just about every matchup he ever had, the forward then became a notorious flopper that would get on the nerves of even more players and fans. Hall of Fame worthy defender and rebounder? Absolutely. One of the worst floppers of all time? You better believe it. At number 2, Vlade Divac. One of the first Europeans to make the game of basketball look like soccer, Vlade Divac made flopping famous during his playing career in the 1990s and the early 2000s. The Serbian-born power forward and center would flop at the slightest sign of contact and made life a nightmare for centers around the league, as he would utilize his greatest strength by falling once the bigger player attempted to post up. Divac was feared in the post, but for all the wrong reasons. His worst case of flopping? An entire video dedicated to his art. And at number 1, Manu Ginobili. A crafty player who has been a member of 3 NBA championship teams, Manu Ginobili no doubt deserves a spot in the Hall of Fame for arguably being one of the best international players ever to play in the NBA. He'll get his own statue outside of the Flopping Hall of Fame once his career is said and done. Ginobili picked up where Divac left off by being the second international player to make flopping a major part of their game. Manu takes it to a whole other level, however, as he seemingly flops at every single sign of contact. It gets on a lot of players' nerves and made it even worse considering that he nearly gets away with it every single time. Ginobili's flopping is so bad that he gives Cristiano Ronaldo tips. Worst case of flopping, you've been Ginobili'd. And for an honorable mention, we have the worst flop by far. The worst part of it, by far, the officials actually called an offensive foul on Carlos Boozer. Shame. NBA officiating and Chris Bosh, shame. Here's the clip. Alright guys, thank you for watching this video of NBA knowledge. If you enjoyed, do me a big favor and hit that like button, subscribe, stay safe, and have a fantastic day.